Most people live on the surface, filling their days with love drama, gossip about their boss, or quick schemes to get rich. The world even rewards them for it. But for you, it feels empty. You can't stay in the shallow end without feeling restless. Every trivial conversation leaves you drained, like you've eaten a meal that gave you nothing. This hunger for depth is one of the clearest signs of a rare personality. You do not merely want to know what someone does, you want to know why. You do not simply hear words, you listen for the story beneath them, the hidden tremor in a voice, the unspoken truth someone tries to hide even from themselves. A single moment of honesty ignites you more than hours of pleasantries. It feels like breathing fresh mountain air after suffocating indoors. Carl Jung taught that the unconscious is not a territory most people willingly explore. Many avoid it because it demands they face their contradictions, their wounds, their desires. But for rare souls, avoiding it is impossible. To refuse your depths would be to cut off your own lifeblood. You are pulled toward the inner cave because you sense that only there will you encounter what is most real. Think of the last time you were caught in a room of small talk. The laughter was light, the words easy. But inside you something clenched. You long to ask different questions. Not, how was your day? But what do you dream of becoming? Not, what do you do? But what breaks your heart? This is not arrogance. It is your essence. You were not designed to skim. You were designed to dive. Jung once said, loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that are important to you. Perhaps you have felt this keenly, surrounded by voices, yet untouched, unseen. The ache you carry is not proof that something is broken within you. It is proof that your nature is rare. Few are willing to stand naked before their own souls, and so few can truly stand with you in yours. This depth often unsettles people. When you reach for truth, they may recoil, preferring the safety of surfaces. They may accuse you of being too intense, too serious, too much. Yet intensity is simply another word for presence, and seriousness is another word for sincerity. What they call too much is what you cannot dilute without betraying yourself. You are not alone in this. Those who share this depth will recognize you instantly, often without words. You will feel it in their gaze, in the way they hold silence with you rather than rushing to fill it. These are your people, your hidden kin, scattered across the world but tied together by an unspoken frequency. The path to finding them is not to bury your hunger, but to honor it. So pause and ask yourself, where in your life are you still pretending that shallow waters can satisfy you? And what would it feel like to stop apologizing for your depth, to stand unapologetically in the truth that what others call too much is exactly what makes you rare? In the next part, you'll discover how your rare personality does not drift with the tide of the world, but moves by a compass that belongs only to you. Picture everyone around you moving in the same direction, agreeing, following trends, blending into the crowd. Most people feel safe there, but you don't. Something in you resists, a quiet pull that says their path isn't yours. And when you turn away, even in small ways, you feel the weight of separation. That inner compass, the force that won't let you betray yourself, is the second clear sign of a rare personality. Jung saw individuation as the central task of life, becoming who you truly are, distinct from the collective voice. For most, the call of the collective is irresistible. It tells them what to want, who to be, how to measure success. Yet for you, following those scripts feels like swallowing sand. Something within you refuses to be shaped by outer demands. You can mimic conformity for a while, but sooner or later, the mask suffocates. You tear it off, even if it costs you approval. This compass is not loud, it whispers. It doesn't shout commands, but stirs subtle dissonance inside you whenever you betray yourself. That is why compromise feels so heavy for you. It is not the natural give and take of life, but a betrayal of the deepest truth you carry. To live against your compass is to fracture yourself, and the pain of that fracture is unbearable for someone wired as you are. Think back, how many times have you chosen differently, even when it brought misunderstanding? Perhaps you refused a career that promised prestige because it felt empty. Perhaps you ended a relationship that looked perfect on paper, but drained your soul. Others shook their heads, unable to grasp why you would throw away something good. Yet what they called good was poison to your authenticity. You could not swallow it without losing yourself. Jung once wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." For those with rare personalities, this privilege feels more like a compulsion. You cannot not become yourself. The more you resist, the louder the compass hums until you can no longer ignore it. And yet, following it is lonely. You may be called rebellious, aloof, arrogant. You may feel the sting of disapproval when you refuse to conform. But notice, those very voices often carry a secret envy. Deep down, they recognize that you are living with a freedom they long for, but fear to claim. Your compass becomes clearest in times of crisis. When the crowd panics, you turn inward. When others chase applause, you pause to ask, "Will this choice let me sleep at night?" While many anchor themselves in the eyes of others, you anchor yourself in the quiet knowing of your heart. This does not make life easier. In fact, it often makes it harder. But it makes life real. And for you, reality is worth every cost. When was the last time you muted your compass to keep the peace? How long can you keep sacrificing yourself before the fracture becomes unbearable? Your rare personality is not defined by how well you blend, but by how faithfully you follow the path no one else can see. In the next part, you'll discover why your rare sensitivity, though often seen as fragility, is in truth one of your greatest and most dangerous gifts. You walk into a room and immediately feel it, before anyone says a word. You notice the fake smile, the forced laugh, the tension no one else admits is there. Your body picks it all up like a radar you can't turn off. This sensitivity isn't just a quirk, it's a sign of who you are. And it makes life both brighter and heavier for you. Most people live as if emotions are background noise. They brush them aside, cover them with chatter, drown them in distractions. But you cannot. Your body reacts before your mind has time to process. You feel what others deny, and it runs through you like an electric current. Jung wrote of the wounded healer, the soul whose own pain becomes the key to sensing the pain of others. Your sensitivity is not born of weakness. It is born of survival, of having walked through fire and learning to detect heat before the flames even appear. This gift is both a blessing and a burden. It allows you to connect deeply, to see behind the mask people present to the world. A single look, a pause in their speech, and you catch the sadness they hide from everyone else. And yet, because you cannot filter what you absorb, you carry weight that does not belong to you. Others shed their heaviness in your presence, often without realizing it, and you find yourself walking away heavier than before. Think of how often you've been told you are too sensitive, as if your perception were a flaw to be corrected. But Jung warned that what society dismisses is often what the soul most needs to develop. Your sensitivity allows you to experience life in high resolution, where others only see blur. You hear the silent cry in laughter. You notice the unspoken fracture in beauty. You feel the unseen energy of a place. This level of awareness is rare, and because it is rare, it can be isolating. there is another side to this. Your presence is magnetic to those who seek healing. They may not know why they are drawn to you, only that something in your being makes them feel seen, soothed, understood. Jung believed that the unconscious longs to be recognized, and when you, with your sensitivity, notice what others ignore, people are pulled to you like moths to flame. Yet with that magnetism comes danger. Light attracts shadow, and your sensitivity may also draw those who feed on your energy, who take without giving, who sense your openness and mistake it for weakness. So when did you first realize you could sense more than others acknowledged? And what has that ability cost you? Relationships, energy, even your sense of belonging? This is the paradox of sensitivity. It makes you both healer and target. To deny it is to deny your essence, yet to embrace it means carrying weight that most people will never understand. In the next part, you'll discover why solitude is not your escape, but your oxygen, and how being alone reveals your strength rather than your fragility. Picture yourself walking alone down a quiet path. For most people, that silence feels empty, even frightening. They need constant noise, chatter, and company to feel alive. But for you, it's the opposite. Being alone is not a prison. It's the only place you can breathe, away from the weight of other people's expectations. Most of the world equates aloneness with loneliness, but you know the two are not the same. Loneliness is the ache of disconnection. Solitude is the fullness of self-communion. Jung argued that individuation, the process of becoming whole, requires distance from the herd. The rare personality understands this instinctively. You do not seek solitude because you dislike people. You seek it because only in silence can you hear the voice that matters most, your own. Consider how often you've been misunderstood because of this. Others may label you distant, antisocial, even cold, not realizing that your withdrawal is not rejection, but preservation. In solitude, you can sift through the chaos absorbed during the day, releasing what isn't yours, reclaiming the fragments of yourself scattered by the demands of others. You emerge from these periods not diminished but strengthened, as if solitude itself were the forge that hardens your spirit. Jung wrote, "The individual who wishes to have an answer to the problem of evil has need, first and foremost, of self-knowledge. And self-knowledge cannot bloom in constant company. It grows in silence, in reflection, in the brave act of sitting with your own mind. This is why your need for solitude is a sign of rarity. While many flee from themselves into endless distraction, you walk willingly into your own company. You face the silence others fear. Solitude is not without cost. People may grow uneasy with your distance, interpreting it as arrogance or indifference. They may push against it, demand explanations, try to pull you back into the noise. But notice, those who truly know you recognize that your time alone is not abandonment, but alignment. They understand that you return from solitude with clearer vision, deeper strength, and more authentic presence. Do you honor your need for solitude, or do you still apologize for it? Do you see your aloneness as a flaw to be corrected, or as the necessary soil in which your soul grows? This sign is not about fleeing the world. It is about grounding yourself so you can re-enter it without losing who you are. In the next part, you'll discover why your very presence acts as a mirror to others, exposing parts of themselves they would rather keep hidden. There are times when you notice it. People shift uneasily around you, their laughter stiffens, their eyes dart away. You have not spoken harshly, nor have you tried to intimidate them, yet your presence unsettles. Why? Because rare personalities often act as mirrors, reflecting what others most wish to hide. Without meaning to, you awaken the shadow in those around you. Jung defined the shadow as the collection of everything the ego refuses to admit, the repressed fears, desires, and impulses buried in the unconscious. Most people spend their lives running from this darkness, covering it with performance, with status, with smiles. But when someone like you steps into their orbit, their defenses begin to crack. They sense that you see beyond their mask, even if you say nothing. The mirror is held up, and what stares back is not the polished self they show the world, but the raw truth they keep hidden. This is not an easy gift to carry. You may have noticed how some people react with sudden irritation or defensiveness around you. Though you did nothing to provoke them, they are not fighting you. They are fighting the parts of themselves that your presence has illuminated. To them, you become dangerous, not because you are cruel, but because you are honest. Rare personalities strip away illusions simply by existing. Think of the times someone has accused you of judging them when in fact you had not uttered a word. What they felt was not your judgment, but their own, stirred up from within by your silent clarity. Jung wrote, "Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is." When you walk through the world with eyes attuned to truth, you inevitably make the unacknowledged shadows of others rise to the surface. This role can be isolating. People may distance themselves, unable to withstand the discomfort of what they feel in your presence. Yet paradoxically, others are drawn to you for the very same reason. Those who are ready for transformation, who long to see themselves clearly, will recognize your presence as a rare gift. You become both a threat and a sanctuary. You challenge people to look deeper than they wish, but also give them permission to embrace what they have long denied. Ask yourself, how many times have you been blamed for a discomfort that was never truly yours? And how often have you carried the weight of others' projections, mistaking them for faults in yourself? This is the burden of being a living mirror. It is not easy, and it often leaves you questioning why your mere presence evokes such strong reactions. But understand this: mirrors are not responsible for the images they reflect. They simply reveal what is already there. In this way, facing the shadow is not only about others, but also about yourself. Because you too are not immune to this mirror. If you are to live authentically, you must turn the mirror inward and face your own darkness with the same courage. This is what separates the rare from the ordinary, not the absence of shadow, but the willingness to confront it. In the next part, you'll discover why the very wounds that once threatened to destroy you are the same wounds that now burn as fuel for transformation. Every rare personality carries scars. They may not always be visible, but they shape you in ways nothing else can. These scars are not just remnants of suffering, they are the raw material of your greatest strength. Jung believed that those who endure profound wounds are uniquely positioned to become healers, not in the conventional sense, but in the way their very presence radiates resilience. Think back to the moments when pain nearly broke you. Perhaps it was betrayal, abandonment, or loss. At the time, it felt unbearable, a fracture that could never be mended. And yet, here you are, carrying those wounds not as open gashes but as seams of gold, like cracks filled with light. The Japanese call it kintsugi, the art of mending broken pottery with gold, making the object more beautiful because of its fractures. In the same way, your psyche has been reshaped by suffering, and the result is not weakness, but alchemy. Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." This is what your wounds demanded of you. Instead of fleeing from darkness, you were forced to wrestle with it, to name it, to live with it until it revealed its hidden teaching. And now, when you meet others in pain, you carry a frequency they recognize, the energy of one who has walked through fire and returned with wisdom. But make no mistake, this transformation is not automatic. Many are crushed by their wounds, becoming bitter, resentful, or closed. The rare personality is different. You do not deny the wound, nor do you glorify it. You work with it, transmuting it into insight, into compassion, into strength. Where once you were broken, you now stand as a living example that pain can be remade into power. Consider how people are drawn to you when they are hurting. They may not even know why, but your presence feels like a balm. It is because your soul speaks a language they understand, the language of wounds transfigured into wisdom. Yet this too comes with risk. Some will seek you not to heal themselves, but to drain you, to bask in your light without doing their own work. This is the danger of being what Jung called the wounded healer. Your gift can save others, but if you are not careful, it can also consume you. So which of your deepest pains has already shaped your strength? What hidden treasure has suffering carved into your being? And which wounds still wait to be transformed, still call for your attention? To carry this sign is to walk the tightrope between breaking and becoming. In the next part, you'll discover why your path will never resemble the ordinary roads others walk, and why embracing your uniqueness is the final seal of your rare personality. There is a point in every rare person's journey where you begin to notice how far your life has drifted from the map most others follow. While they move neatly from milestone to milestone, school, job, family, retirement, you find yourself stepping sideways, circling back, wandering into places that seem invisible to everyone else. At first, this divergence feels like failure. You compare yourself to others and wonder why your life refuses to fall into the same rhythm. But with time, you realize the truth. Your path was never meant to be ordinary. It was meant to be yours alone. The rare personality does not walk a straight line. Your path twists, bends, sometimes doubles back on itself. There are seasons of clarity and seasons of fog, moments when you feel called forward with blazing conviction, and others when you feel lost in silence. Yet even in those silences, something within you whispers, "Keep going." The path may not make sense to the outside world, but it makes sense to your soul. That is the difference. Carl Jung often wrote that life is not about imitation, but individuation, the slow, painful, glorious becoming of who you truly are. For most people, this process is partial, if it begins at all. They live comfortably within the expectations of their families, their cultures, their societies. But you cannot. Every time you try to shrink yourself to fit those molds, you feel a subtle death inside. It is as though your soul refuses confinement, demanding that you keep moving even when the road ahead is unclear. Think of the times you have tried to follow the script others set for you. Perhaps you pursued a career that promised stability or a relationship that seemed perfect in the eyes of others. And yet, in the quiet hours of the night, you felt restless, suffocated, as though you were living someone else's life. This restlessness is not a flaw. It is your compass pulling you back to the path that belongs only to you. And once you heed it, there is no going back. The rare path often strips you of company. Friends fall away, lovers leave, family members shake their heads in confusion. Why can't you just settle? Why can't you be satisfied? They ask. But you know that to settle would be to betray yourself. Satisfaction for you does not come from ticking boxes or earning approval. It comes from alignment, from the deep knowing that even if no one else understands, you are living the life your soul chose for you. This life does not guarantee ease. In fact, it often guarantees the opposite. You may face financial strain when you refuse a job that clashes with your values. You may endure loneliness when relationships crumble under the weight of your authenticity. You may feel the ache of standing on the margins, watching others glide easily down the highways of convention while you hack through forests to make your own road. Yet with every cut of the blade, every thorn that scrapes your skin, you carve out something that never existed before, a path that is truly yours. Jung once said, "The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases." This is the essence of the rare personality. What crushes others with discomfort may feel like home to you. What feels like success to the majority may feel like a cage to your spirit. There is no single recipe, no universal map. You are forced to write your own, step by step, mistake by mistake, revelation by revelation. This path has another consequence. You become a symbol without meaning to. People watch you, and though they may not say it aloud, they sense something liberating in your existence. You embody the possibility that life can be lived differently, that it can be authentic rather than scripted. Some envy you for this. Others criticize you, hoping to convince themselves that the well-trodden road is safer. But a few, those with their own buried compass, will see you as a beacon. By walking your path, you give them silent permission to begin walking theirs. The truth is that rarity is both privilege and burden. It isolates you from the comfort of the collective, but it grants you the only kind of freedom worth having, the freedom to be yourself. To claim that freedom is to accept exile from the ordinary. And yet, it is also to step into the deepest belonging possible, belonging to your own soul. When you understand this, the road no longer feels like punishment. It feels like initiation. Each obstacle becomes a test, each detour a lesson, each lonely stretch a refining fire. And though the world may never fully understand the pattern of your life, you will know that you are walking it with honesty, with courage, with the strange and radiant joy of authenticity. That is the seventh sign. That is the seal of a rare personality. These 7 signs are not random traits. They are threads in a single tapestry, weaving together the unmistakable pattern of a rare personality. To love depth, to follow an inner compass, to carry sensitivity, to seek solitude, to face the shadow, to transform pain, and to walk a unique path. This is not an accident. It is the shape of a life called to individuation, to wholeness, to authenticity beyond what most dare to imagine. Jung once wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." This is the task of the rare soul, and also its crown. To accept that you are different, to stop apologizing for it, to see that your strangeness is your gift and your rarity is your calling. So if these signs resonated with you, know this: you are not broken. You are rare. And rarity, by its very nature, cannot belong to the many. Type rare in the comments if you are ready to embrace this path without hesitation. And remember, this is not the end of the journey. The next video completes this exploration. Don't miss it.